I'm Roniel.
I'm DaRon.
Oh man, and today we got a good episode to talk about. Something I've been interested in talking about for a while is knowledge transfer and building up the next generation, especially of cybersecurity professionals, or it could just be in general. But in this particular case, I wanted to get your thoughts on how do we build up the next generation when they don't want to learn anything new, when they're not interested in learning anything new. I mean, you got to think about it. You can't be the best in this field if you don't continue to learn.
Right.
And without the knowledge transfer from people with higher experience or level, from a higher level, how can we get better? You know, I mean, people say that they know a lot of different things, or they pretend that they know these things when they really don't, or they pretend what they're doing is so high level when it's really not.
Right.
But they don't know that because they never had somebody with a higher level experience to come and tell them, hey, this is how you could be better. But then if you tell somebody who's younger than, some of the generations before, then their thing is, well, what do you know? I know this. I've been doing this as long as you. I've been very long. So how can you come and tell me that I'm wrong? Or the way you approach it may not be the way they like it. Because a lot of people in this generation, the newer generation, are so sensitive today. Everything is built off sensitivity. I mean, you'll cancel somebody
Right.
just for saying one simple thing that they could say back then.
Right.
But
Yes.
now we're going to cancel you because I tell you I don't like cheese on my pizza.
Yes. Or
I
that
mean,
I eat cheese. And everyone's
yeah,
like,
I
oh,
mean,
that's racist.
what the fuck? Like, so my thing is, how do we build up this next generation, or even the current generation that's not even probably a part of your generation or mine, but the current generation to be better cybersecurity professionals, or better in general, to build the things that we lost or we probably never had.
So first of all, you can always lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I think one of the most important things is to understand some people aren't at a place where they're ready to learn. They just aren't. And so you have to just either one, you keep trying and maybe it'll eventually work, or two, you say, come back to me when you're ready. When you don't think you have all the answers.
Okay, but here's my thing. Okay, some people are not ready to learn. Well, how the hell are they getting into these or how do you take somebody who's just say in our field, a senior, or no, let's say a security or a regular penetration tester, not a senior. They're just a regular penetration tester, then they become a senior, right? And maybe they become a senior after a year or two. How do you take somebody that saying that they're not ready to learn, but they're in this high position, and they could do better, but they don't want to learn? How the hell did they get there in the first place? How did somebody put them in that particular situation if they wasn't ready to learn?
Yeah, I think that is an issue. Our industry is starved for people, and so there does tend to be a tendency to promote too quickly. There also is the opposite, where you can't get promoted to save your life, even when you should be. But there does seem to be an odd tendency to promote very quickly. When you do that, though, you risk accidentally giving someone a big head where they think, okay, I'm at this level, so I don't have anything I can learn. I can't learn from this person because they're below me. I can't learn from this person because they're my same rank. I can't learn from this person because I just don't want to, because I think I know it all, whatever it happens to be. I think one of the biggest problems that we have today is companies actually don't want to invest in proper learning and education schemes. For example, mentorship programs. If you really want to teach someone and you really want people who learn to get the best knowledge available to them from others who have been there and done that, you have to have a mentorship program, because mentorship programs build a relationship. And exactly to what you're really talking about, one of the biggest hindrances is not having that relationship so someone doesn't feel vulnerable or they feel like they can't be vulnerable. And you have to be vulnerable in order to learn. You have to be willing to accept that you don't know everything, accept that this person knows more than you, at least in this domain, and accept that you can learn from them. If you cannot or will not do that, then there is no moving forward. And this is why mentorship programs are key. So I guess the real answer to your question is, if you have individuals who refuse to learn, then maybe the problem is you're not the right teacher. That happens. Alternatively, maybe the problem is that that relationship hasn't been established. And that is exactly why companies need to have, you need to have professional mentors, people who help you grow professionally. And by that, I'm really talking about helping you move through the ranks and navigate any troubles that you may have, professional issues that you may have. But you also need to have a technical mentor. And I would honestly say you need to have at least two technical mentors, usually. It depends. Sometimes you have a particularly strong technical mentor, so you don't need to. But that gives you the diversity of ideas and diversity of approach, but it also lets you build that relationship. And with that relationship, now you're more likely to have that positive engagement where I can pass down my knowledge to you. And to exactly what you're talking about, that knowledge needs to include not only tactics, techniques, things of that nature, but also why we do what we do. It's not enough to say, okay, I run this in this way, and then after that's done, I run the next scan and the next scan and the next scan. First of all, if all you're running are scans, then you're going to be replaced by a computer very shortly. But more importantly, you need to explain why, and need to explain why when you then read the results, you extrapolate what you do from it and you interpolate what you do from it. Why is it I walk away with this understanding when I am done? These are things you only get from mentorship. You won't get it from a seminar. You won't get it from uh, the OSCP training. You won't get it from anything like that. You have to actually have a mentor. Your mentor should be there to drive and to give you the history and to give you the knowledge.
And this just so people can know how vulnerable I am, and then it is also going to go into some other. Maybe people have never said this, but I don't know everything, and obviously, DaRon over here is one of my mentors. I don't know everything, and I don't claim to know everything, and I
Right.
don't claim to be an expert at things, you know, whatever. But there's times that I have my feelings like, damn, and it gets in the way where you're like, I know my stuff, and I know this guy knows more than me, but at some point you want to get to that particular rank, or you want to have some type of feeling that you're achieving, a high level. So that kind of gets in the way. Your pride gets in the way of things. But I can tell you, from being that being in my shoes and being a type of person that is a man, has pride and feelings and wants to be at a higher level, or getting at a higher level, it's like it bothers you. But again, what was the old saying in martial art? Empty your cup.
Yes.
Like you can't come with a cup full. In order to learn and get more, you have to empty that cup, right?
Yes.
So in order to get to a higher level, if you want to be a Duran or myself or other people, you literally have to accept what you don't know, and take in what you want to learn, or things that you don't know. Like you gotta accept that you don't know everything.
Right.
And the only way to get better and get to a higher level, as these people that are trying to help you, is to shut up and listen.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you may not know everything, you may not understand things he said the first time, but the more you do it, the better you get. And I'm not talking about any OSCPs or CTF. And from my experiences, certifications have never helped me. I'm not a good test taker.
Yeah.
Certifications don't help me. I've learned more by doing and working with Duran than actually doing a certification, which is why I don't have any of them. They're just a waste of money, in my opinion. You do what you want to do, but that's my opinion. But I've learned more through that than I've learned in any certification or any training. And we're talking about paying $5,000 for a SANS training that taught me nothing.
Yeah.
And Some people learn from it, some people don't. But I'm just saying in particular that, that's the only way you're going to get really good is by having or picking a mentor and listening. You don't know everything. You're not the expert. If you did, why would you come and ask? Why would you be asking somebody, hey, can you help me with this? And blah, blah, blah. And then expecting them to give you something out of it when you don't even want to hear the answer. And
Right.
you don't want to go find out what the answer is.
Right. That's true. So a good mentor is going to challenge you. They will challenge you constantly, and they're going to say things that may be hurtful. But they're things that need to be said and that you need to hear because you won't grow if you don't. And if they don't. If your mentor is too nice, you're probably not going to go anywhere because they're too busy telling you you're doing so well. You know everything. Good job.
DaRon, how many times have I messed up? Plenty of times, and I'm just like, oh, this is so embarrassing.
Yes.
But embarrassing to who? I mean, it may be embarrassing. The clients a lot of times don't even know you messed up until
Yeah.
you say you messed up. But and to me, it may be embarrassing because I know that he knows a lot, and I'm like, damn, I'm trying to, a lot of times, especially the same way in martial art and other things, you want to show your mentor or the person that's your teacher, whatever, professor, whatever, that you're getting better and
Yeah.
you're learning and you're doing this and you don't want to have any flaws, but we're human and you want to get that validation. So it kind of sucks when you don't, or he's telling you, or that person, he or she is telling you, hey, you did this wrong. This was this and that. But that's the only way to get better is by learning from your failures.
Yeah.
We're all human. We make mistakes. If you didn't make a mistake, how would you learn?
Yes. Yes, I think when when you look at it, a lot of colleges actually don't like people who get straight A's because and neither do a lot of businesses because straight A's oftentimes that's indicative of you not challenging yourself. That's how they view it. Because exactly to your point, we learn the most from our failures. We've talked about it. The class in college I learned the most from was a class I got a D in.
Oh, literally. I C D's, whatever. Those were the ones I learned challenging, and a lot of the other classes I got B's or A's in, they wasn't as challenging.
Yeah.
They were easy, but I also understood the concept very well as well. But the ones that were the C to D's was the one I was like, I came out really learning a lot.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, of course they wound up rounding these things up. So, like I said, if you had a C, you kind of got a B minus. If you had a D, you kind of got a C or C minus. But again, to me, I still felt those things were where I learned the most and I got the most benefit, knowledge out and
Yeah.
transfer. But you know, as you notice, most of the people who are CEOs are running their own company. They were college dropouts
Yeah.
and had C's and D's, but they learned how to fail to become successful. Like you got to
Right.
keep trying and trying. Just because you fail once don't mean you don't continue to try again. So learning how to fail and overcome those failures is what makes you successful. I'm
Yes.
not saying it always for most people, but I can guarantee you, if you learn how to fail and become better at where you failed at or learning from that failure, you can become better. But again, a lot of people don't want to fail. They want to be great the first time. They want a
Right.
straight A. You know, it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
life. And if you are walking on that straight line, then one day you will fail. And when you do fail, it's gonna be horrible and you're probably not gonna be able to overcome that.
Yes, that's true. That's the other side of it is the people who do only get straight A's. Typically, when they get challenged and have a real problem, they cannot go through and rectify the issue in their mind, and it causes a real problem, and you'll get mental breakdowns because they've never been challenged, and suddenly something that they cannot get past, something they cannot understand, stands before them, and it crushes them. And that's not good. That's not beneficial. I think to your earlier point, our education system is going to realize very shortly that it has created a monster that is going after it. And you see that actively happening in college campuses where professors are being gone after for uh, being insensitive when they're not being insensitive, things of that nature. We we cannot have people feel so, I'm going to use the term safe, all of the time, because if you feel safe, you cannot learn. You will not learn. That you're not vulnerable, and if you are vulnerable, you do not learn. It's how this works. It doesn't mean you be a jerk to someone. That's why I said your mentor has to build that relationship. But
Again, it goes back to this generation sensitive. Like I said, I failed so many times in my life. I'm used to failure,
yeah,
but I don't stop just because I felt once or
right,
twice. I can fail 10, 20 times. I'm going to continue to figure out a way to be successful off of this. It's just learning from that lesson. But again, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting the different results, but you get the same result. Like, you got to change something. And if what you're doing is not working, then it may be great to listen to the person that's trying to help you tell you what you can do to get better.
yeah. Companies need to do a better job of fostering mentorship programs, building mentorship programs, and then maintaining those programs. You have to. You have to. But if you are at an organization where they do not have a mentorship program, you need to do it yourself. You need to find your own mentors.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are at high level. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean they're jerks. It doesn't mean that they won't help or not. But communicate with different people. If you are a security consultant and you've seen somebody that's a senior or a principal, reach out to them, learn from them, ask them if you can shadow them. I mean, a lot of things you can do to get better.
Yeah,
And maybe you're friends with people or you're friends with people in other areas. I think that, in my opinion, like you said, you should have multiple different people, and it doesn't have to be in the same area. Like,
right.
it doesn't have to be in penetration testing. It could also be in defensive stuff, forensics. It could be in whatever you're trying to get better at. You're going to need somebody to help you, train you to get better.
Yeah,
And it's nothing like having a mentor and on the job training, real on the job experience, where you can get better. And a lot of time people get better in a short period of time. It's all depending on how you learn. And you got to also find people that fit your learning style.
yeah,
Everybody doesn't learn the same way. So it may be easy for one person and harder for the next. So it's the same way in college. College, I don't think they take that in perspective, that people don't learn the same. So you failed them because, oh man, he didn't get this concept, but maybe he didn't understand it from this instructor. That's
right.
why when they go to another instructor, they pass that because they understand it better. All this CTF and all this certification talk. Uh, a lot of the CTFs you see today are not realistic. And we said this before, but people using that as a way to train people, it's not helping
Yeah,
because it does not simulate a real penetration test or
right,
real vulnerability. Like, I'm not saying these vulnerabilities are not real, but a lot of the times they're really easy to do. And it doesn't simulate that. Like, when it's super easy for me, I get that expectation when I go do a test. It should be super easy to do.
right.
But it's not like that. You'll do a
Yes,
test today and you might find that really quickly. And you do another
yes.
test tomorrow on the next day and you don't find none of them. And you're like, damn, what happened?
Yes, you'll become like the straight A student. You get this expectation that everything will come easily, that you won't have any problems, and then when you have an engagement where things are tough, it just destroys everything about you.
Oh, it destroys your mental and everything. You thought your pride was fucked up now. If
Yeah,
you're then, it would definitely be fucked up where you don't want to even do it anymore.
yeah,
But that's why I say, get a mentor, find somebody, practice on real applications if you can. There's bug bounties, there's different things. If you're a consultant already testing legally. So that's my advice. I don't believe in CTFs. I think using that as a tool to help people grow, it's not always the best, and it all depends on that person's skill set as well. Most people will make apps and CTFs and things that are really easy because they don't have the skill set to make them harder. They
yeah,
don't even understand it. And a lot of people are making these CTF when they don't really understand the vulnerability they damn self. So it's like, you need to find somebody who literally has been in it doing this for years. I'm talking about 20 plus or more, that know what they're doing, been around the block, and can help you get better and at the level you want to be at. So
Yes.
that's my thought on this. I don't know if you have any other things, Daron, but that's my opinion.
I think the only other thing to add is that while YouTube is great, books are great, etc., at the end of the day, you should at least have one of your mentors be someone you have constant communication with. Because again, the most important part of it is the relationship. If you do not have that relationship, it's only going to go so far. They won't know what you need to know. They won't know what your failings are. They won't know any of that kind of stuff. And you won't have the rapport with them and they with you, such that you can have the difficult conversations required to actually give quality mentorship.
Like you said, with that relationship, the mentor knows
Mhm.
the mentee, if that's how you
Yes.
say it, where they fell at, where they
Yes.
can do better because of that relationship. They know their shortcomings, you know what they need to work on and get better at. So again, that makes a successful mentorship program.
Mhm.
So having that relationship and building that. So uh, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. I'm Roniel,
I'm DaRon.
and to the next time.
Have fun.